Hello guys, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. So in today's class we are going to discuss about a very important concept of structure of atom chapter, that is Bohr's model for hydrogen atom. So in the previous video we have discussed about the emission spectra, absorption spectra, and again the line emission spectra of other elements, and then we have also discussed about the line emission spectra of hydrogen atom. So Niels Bohr in the year 1930 he determined that, or we could say that he found out that hydrogen was emitting certain amount of radiation when it is in its gaseous state. So that radiation which he discovered, according to the studies of other scientists, he proposed a model in order to explain the structure of hydrogen atom. So in his model, he said according to the four observations. In the first observation, he said that if you consider an electron rotating around the nucleus, if you consider Rutherford's model of an atom where he said electrons will be revolving around the nucleus, right? So he said there will be just one orbital around the electron, but Bohr said that electrons revolve around the nucleus in certain orbits. They are not just one or they are not just two. There will be infinite number of orbits, and each electron will be rotating on the particular orbit if it has a given amount of energy of that particular energy level. So let us say if this is the nucleus of an atom, and the electron is revolving around this nucleus, okay, so this is the orbit. Let us say we write two orbits. So one orbit has energy E1 and the other orbit has energy E2. So if you have to study an electron with certain amount of energy, let us say we need to study an electron with energy which is similar to E2. So now this electron which we are considering here, it will be revolving in the energy level E2 but not on E1. And if you are to study about electron which is of energy E1, then it will be in the E1 level. Okay. So he said that electrons which are revolving around the nucleus will be present in a stationary orbit levels, which are also called stationary states. So the first point he said was electrons revolve around the nucleus. Electrons revolve around the nucleus in circular path. Which are called as orbits, or also called as stationary states. So if an energy is revolving around the nucleus in a circular orbit, it is clear that that energy will be having energy, that electron will be having energy equal to the energy of that particular orbit. So this was the first proposition. In the second proposition, he said that energy of each of these orbits, will not depend upon time. That is, energy will not either increase or decrease with respect to time. Even though Niels Bohr said that the energy of electron or the energy level does not depend upon time, he said that energy of electron can be changed. Energy of electron can be changed when those electrons jump from lower level to higher level or higher level to lower level. That is, if the electron absorbs certain amount of energy, let us say, so this is our electron in the ground state, in the E1 state. So if we are giving certain amount of energy to this electron, let us say h nu. So if certain amount of energy h nu is given to that electron, so if I write these two energy levels in this order, E1 and E2. So if this is an electron present at the ground state of E1, so and we give certain amount of energy h nu, so this electron may absorb that energy and get excited to the higher level. And further, the same electron can return back to the ground state by losing that particular energy which it has absorbed. So this is the second state. That is, in the second proposition he said that electrons which are present in one level can get excited to a higher level or get demoted to a lower level with interaction of a photon. So if it absorbs a photon of energy, it might get excited to the higher energy, and if it is losing one photon of energy, it might get demoted to the lower orbit. So this was the second state. So that is, electron will neither change its energy in its path. What it does is, while it is rotating or revolving around the nucleus, electrons can get excited to a higher level by absorbing certain minimum energy So that energy which has to be given for the electron to get excited to a higher level, let us say we are exciting an electron from E1 to E2, then the energy required is nothing but delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. So the energy which is required to excite an electron from E1 level to E2 level is given by delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. Okay, delta E is equal to E2 minus E1. Now in the third point, he said that frequency, which is nothing but the elaboration of this point, frequency of the energy required, is equal to, is given by delta E is equal to H into delta V, delta mu, and delta mu is equal to delta E by H, which is nothing but E2 minus E1 divided by H. So this is the minimum frequency for an electron to get excited from E1 level to E2 level. Now in the fourth point, he said that, he initially said the electrons will be revolving around the nucleus, right? So whenever you consider a motion of electron, it involves acceleration, and that acceleration will be related to its momentum. So in the fourth point, he said that the angular moment of electron, so electron which is revolving around the nucleus with a certain momentum, this momentum of angular momentum of electron is equal to integral multiples of h by 2 pi. So in the fourth point, he said that angular momentum of electron revolving around the nucleus will be equal to integral multiples of h by 2 pi, where n is nothing but the integers 1, 2, 3 and so on. N is the integer, so therefore angular momentum is equal to nh by 2 pi. Angular momentum is also given by MEVR. So angular momentum, mass of electron, velocity into radius of the orbit will be equal to n into h by 2 pi. So this is the four propositions provided by Bohr for explaining the structure of hydrogen atom. So if you consider, I'll read it, I'll explain it once again, we'll go through it. So first point is, electrons will be revolving around the nucleus in a circular path of particular energy, and those circular paths around the nucleus are called as orbits or stationary states. And each of these orbits or stationary states will be having a particular amount of energy, which might be E1, E2, E3, etc. Next, in the second point, electron which is revolving around the nucleus does not changes its energy with respect to time. It only does when it gets excited to higher level or demoted to lower level by either absorbing a photon of energy or by losing a photon of energy. Next, the frequency for the required energy to get excited to a higher level or to a lower level is given by the relation delta mu is equal to delta E by H, where delta is nothing but change in frequency, change in energy, which is equal to E2 minus E1 divided by H, where H is the Planck's constant. Next, angular momentum of an electron, that is MEVR, is equal to integral multiple, integral is denoted by the term n, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., h by 2 pi. These are the constants. So angular momentum of electron in the first level is given by 1 into h by 2 pi. In the second level it is given by 2 into h by 2 pi. Third level it will be 3 into h by 2 pi and so on. So these are the four propositions or four postulates of Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. Okay, so this is about the four postulates of Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. Next, we'll discuss about its application with respect to a hydrogen atom, which we have studied in the line emission spectra. Okay. Next is application of Bohr's model of atom. So what are the application by the Bohr's model of atom? So the first point, the stationary states which he explained, which had number n is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on. The stationary states which was explained by Bohr was also said as principal quantum number, is also called as principal quantum number. This principal quantum number we'll discuss more when we come across the quantum model of an atom. So principal quantum number, so this n which is equals to 1, 2, 3 and so on, which is nothing but the level of stationary states, is in clear relation with principal quantum number, which is used for the quantum model of atom. So this energy level states clearly depict particular presence of electron in a particular energy level. So in the second point, for hydrogen atom, radius is calculated as radius of an electron is given by the formula Rn is equal to n square into a naught. Rn is equal to n square into a naught, where a naught is the radius of first orbit, which is equal to 52.9 picometer. A naught is radius of first orbit or first stationary state, which is equal to 52.9 picometer, that is nothing but 52.9 into 10 power minus 12 meter. For hydrogen atom, radius is equal to, for hydrogen atom we have just one electron, so therefore R1 will be equal to 1 square into a naught, that is nothing but 52.9 picometer. So radius of hydrogen atom is, in the first order it will be 52.9 picometer. This was in good relation with respect to our experimental data of hydrogen's radius. Okay, and in the third point, again using this n value, we can determine the energy level of given energy orbital or the stationary state, which is given by the relation En is equal to minus 2.18 into 10 power minus 7. Minus 2.18 into 10 power minus 7, 10 power minus 18, 10 power minus 18 into 1 by n square. Energy of a stationary state is given by minus 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 into 1 by n square joules. So this is the energy of one stationary state. So if you give the values of n, will determine the energy of first orbit, second orbit or third orbit. For hydrogen atom, E1 is equal to minus 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 into 1 by 1 square, that is nothing equals to minus 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 joules. So this is the energy of first orbit of hydrogen. So this is the energy of first orbit of hydrogen. Okay, so this is for the third point. If you have to calculate the energy of second orbit, substitute 2 over here, we will get 2 square, we will divide those two values, we will get the energy of second orbital. So these three relations were in good condition with respect to experimental data of other scientists, and this can be related in the formula. If you write the energy level diagram, how we can form its energy level diagram is, if you consider the energy on y-axis, so first energy level at n is equal to 1 will be over here, second energy level will be halfway through it, n is equal to 2, and the third energy level will be just closer to n2. That is, as more and more the value of n value, it decreases exponentially. Okay, so if you consider 16, half of it will be 8, half of it will be 4 and half of it will be 2. Okay, so this variation is slightly decreasing with respect to this. Similarly, if you consider this as 16, this will be 8, and this will be n is equal to 3. So not here, let us take somewhere over here. This is n is equal to 3, and it will be closer to n is equal to 4. So as the number of n increases, energy becomes more and more negative. Energy becomes more and more negative. Okay, and it also decreases with the delta E values. So that is the energy of hydrogen level atom. So if for any other atom also. So if you consider over here, if you divide 2.18 by 4 for the n is equal to 2 value, for n is equal to 2 value, that will be equal to minus 2.18 divided by 4. That gives us around something around 0.5. Okay. So what we can say is, if we increase the energy level to infinity, energy of that level will be 0. That is nothing but if the electron goes to an infinite state, energy of that electron will nothing but be 0. That is nothing but the 0 point energy. So what is this 0 point energy? 0 point energy is the energy of electron in the infinite level. That is, when n is equal to infinity, energy of the electron in the infinite level is called the 0 point energy. So that is nothing but at the infinite level, electron will not be under the influence of nucleus. So if you consider, this is the nucleus and we have electrons in this orbits. So if you consider the infinite level over here, so there will be no influence of electron or no influence of nucleus on the electron if you consider this as an infinite level, and that will have 0 energy. That is, electron in the infinite level will have 0 energy. That is nothing but the 0 point energy. Further, there is one more point which you have to know here is, this particular explanation given by Bohr on hydrogen atom works well with hydrogen-like atoms also. So what is this hydrogen-like atoms? Hydrogen-like atoms are those which have equal number of electrons with respect to and compared to hydrogen. For example, He plus, Li2 plus, Be3 plus. So all these three elements have one electron each in them. All these three will have one electron each in them. And now the explanation given by Bohr for the hydrogen atom works well with the helium in the +1 charge, lithium with +2 charge and beryllium with +3 charge. As they have one electron each when compared to hydrogen atom, it is similar. So therefore, energy of these orbitals, energy of these elements is given by En is equal to minus 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 Z divided by n square, where here Z is nothing but the atomic number of the elements. Atomic number of helium is 2, lithium 3, beryllium 4. So energy of the hydrogen-like elements, these are called hydrogen-like elements. Energy of the hydrogen-like elements is given by En is equal to minus 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 Z divided by n square, and radius is given by Rn is equal to n square into a naught divided by Z. So this is the radius formula for hydrogen-like elements, and this is the energy relation for hydrogen-like elements. If you observe in this equation, what happens is, if Z value increases, if the atomic number increases in the hydrogen-like elements, energy of that states will become more and more negative. If atomic number increases, energy will be more and more negative. That is, energy will go on in the opposite direction for the positive values. So if this is 0 and this is negative values, it will be more towards the negative value. Okay, and in case of radius, with increase in atomic number, radius decreases. With increase in atomic number, radius decreases. That is, if this is the nucleus and this is the radius of hydrogen, and for the first orbital of helium, it will be little closer. Okay, so therefore what we can say is, as the increase in atomic number, there will be a shrink in radius for any hydrogen-like atom. So when atomic number increases, radius decreases. when atomic number increases, energy of the stationary states becomes more and more negative. Okay, so this is about the relation of or postulates applications of Bohr's atomic model of hydrogen. Okay, Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. I hope you have understood all this what I have explained. If you have certain doubts, go through this video once again. You'll get a better idea. Yet you have more doubts, you can mail me those doubts on my mail ID which I have given you in the description box. So I hope you have understood everything. Thank you for watching.